It's interesting. Probably said this in the piece that you saw on YouTube, but in my public talks around, even the language of masculinity. When we talk to each other, we tend to be more abrupt. We tend to say, "Hey, how's it going? Love you," uh, or "Hey, what's up?" And we don't really tell. Sort of emotional language isn't even part of our language. Sort of
Yeah.
interconnectedness, and so we don't say "I love you." We have to say "I love you, man."
I
"Hey, you're
don't
cool."
I honestly don't like that.
I know.
It's
It's
annoying.
a drive-by, right? It sort of, like, doesn't really show a lot of emotions. It keeps us from feeling. We can show an expression, but we don't have to be suspect whether or not we're being too emotional or too
Yeah.
intimate, and
It
so we
always,
break
like
down a lot with we avoid intimacy, I think, is part of that languaging that we try to avoid.
yeah.
Yeah, what were you gonna say?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but, like,
That's right.
this thought was coming up is that it contains intimacy instead of allowing it to just be. We feel like we need to, like, contain it or, like, compartmentalize it.
Yeah, yeah, and express it in a way that sort of kind of protects us from showing too much. Even the male hug is a quick, you know, wrap around the shoulder or a punch in the arm. Years ago, I was doing some programs in and res halls at Cornell where I did my graduate work a long time ago, and we were doing we were doing programs for guys in sort of rape prevention and building better relationships and not depending on women for our emotionality a lot. And I
Mhm.
was one of the questions we would ask a group of guys was, "How do you express your love for your best friend, your best male friend? How do you express your
Mm.
love?" And the responses were amazing. There were things like, I punch him on the arm every time I see him, down from the upper bunk and land on him, and he knows I love him." And so it's oftentimes expressions of kind of physical aggression or hyper teasing,
Mhm.
put downs, ridicule, those kinds of dynamics that are displays of affection in an odd sort of way. But just being able to make eye to eye contact, just to be able to sit close to another guy and have a conversation as opposed to across a table or make eye to eye contact. One of the things that research shows that men, when we talk with each other, are less likely to sit close to each other when we talk. Women are likely to sit closer to each other. Women sit so like 6 inches apart. Men sit 12 inches apart. And I don't think it's because their penis is going to get in the way or anything. It's just because they kind of like, oh my God, I don't want to get too close.
I think it's is more like the fear of, like, "Oh my gosh, I'm having, like, an erection or whatever."
Yeah.
So it's just they're really afraid of that, and
I don't want to be misinterpreted. Right.
yeah, they're afraid of that, and they don't have, and they're I feel like it's just goes to, like, a lot of men aren't comfortable in their own bodies, so we're not, like, becoming comfortable close with another guy. It
Yeah.
becomes, like, a whole different,
Yeah.
system or, like, conflict, and it's just we're so, like, afraid of being perceived in a certain way that we let that limit ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
And we are very spatially oriented in terms of making sure we have a certain amount of distance when we're
Yeah.
it's like when we're sitting together, we're sleeping in a tent together in sleeping bags, we make sure that they're far enough apart. We don't sort of just connect in a safe way. But even the eye contact, the languaging that we do, all kind of we avoid direct contact when we talk.
Mhm.
We're much more likely to look away and say, "You know what? I got a couple of things I want to share with you, man." And we'll talk moving our heads around instead of just saying, "I've got some stuff I want to share with you," and just looking at each other in the eye for, while we're talking. It's kind
Yeah,
of an
that brings
interesting
up a
game.
lot. The traits you mentioned, I could think of, like, a couple of people that kind of exhibit those traits, and I'm like, "What are you doing? I'm trying to, like, have a conversation with you."
"Hello, I'm here."
Like, I'm right here. I'm not, like, in the clouds. But really, it just, goes to their level of discomfort. They're not able to, like, have that, like, sense of being in the present moment. I think a lot of men are in their heads a lot, so we're not able to be, like, in the present moment. This friend cares about me. I can't, because I feel like we need to, like, do something or we have to, like, look the other
Yeah,
way. It's like, that's not
yeah. Yeah, and avoid the avoidance of intimacy, um, I think is one of the kind of the ways you don't get suspicious of being gay or
Yeah.
aren't suspected of being gay or too much or scary in some ways, you know, "Man, back off a little bit, would you?" You know, those kinds of behaviors that
Yeah.
are said verbally or else just physically, kinda like people back off from each other when they're talking.